I rented the apartment because it was cheap. Too cheap for the area, but the landlord said the previous tenant had left suddenly, and they just wanted someone to take it quickly, and since I needed a place fast, I didn't ask questions I should have asked. The first night felt strangely quiet, not peaceful, but padded, like the building was swallowing sound before it could reach me, and I remember lying in bed thinking I had never heard silence this thick before. At exactly 2:17 a.m., my bedroom door creaked open. I live alone, and I know for a fact I had closed it before sleeping because I always do. I sat up frozen, staring into the dark hallway, waiting for movement that never came, then turned on the lamp and checked every corner of the apartment, finding nothing except my own reflection looking back at me like I was overreacting. I blamed old hinges, air pressure, the building settling, normal explanations that sounded convincing in the light. The next night at 2:17 a.m., the same creak woke me up, slower this time, deliberate, like someone easing the door open carefully to avoid making noise, and when I checked, the handle felt loose, warm almost, as if it had just been touched. That's when unease turned into alertness. On the third night, I locked the bedroom door before sleeping, telling myself that would settle it. But at 2:17 a.m., I heard a soft click, followed by the faint rattle of someone gently trying the handle from the outside, patient, unhurried, as if they knew I was awake and wanted me to know they were there. I didn't sleep after that, and in the morning I noticed small scratch marks near the latch on the door, thin lines that hadn't been there before, like someone had tried sliding something metal into the gap. I began inspecting the apartment in daylight with a different mindset, no longer as a tenant, but as someone checking for entry points, and that's when I noticed the hallway closet had a back panel that was a slightly different shade of white. I pushed it and it moved. Behind it was a narrow maintenance passage running between my apartment and the one next door, dusty and dark but clearly used. There were old food wrappers, an empty water bottle, a folded blanket, and the unmistakable indentation of someone having slept there recently. My hands started shaking as the realization settled in. Someone had been inside my walls, close enough to hear me breathe at night. I called the landlord immediately, furious and panicked, demanding to know who had access to this space, and after a long silence he said something that made my stomach drop. The unit next to mine had been empty for months and no one had keys except maintenance, who hadn't visited in weeks. I packed a bag that evening and left to stay at a friend's place without telling the landlord, needing distance from that apartment before I could think clearly. A week later he called me back after inspecting the passage himself with maintenance staff. He told me they hadn't found a person, but they had found a thin mattress, more wrappers, and on the concrete wall,